Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of FTB Interactions, and I have been busy. Just a quick recap on last episode. So we made epoxy resin sheets, which was our goal. This is going to be used in our HV circuits to get away from using the processor assemblies. But in between episodes, I've been cleaning up this little farm area, as I mentioned last time. So I got all the interactors running, and I cleaned up these crop fields. So we're now growing beets, potatoes, soybeans, wheat, cohosh, which I'm going to remove actually and replace just with netherwort. And we have some cotton here also. So all of these are powered with Spectre coils, and that seems to do the job okay. Actually need to add a barrel for seeds here, it looks like. But yeah, all of the extracts are from the bottom. And then as you can see here, we have fluid and item conduits all converging to the middle there. The fluid conduits all go into this steel drum just to buffer the sludge where the excess gets voided. And the item conduits all go up this line here. And that all leads to these barrels here, which were previously down there. I cleaned that up as I didn't think that was really a good spot for it, especially since the tree farm was there. And in fact, I think we might end up moving this also once we get ender chests. So I think the barrels here are a bit better, and this is where they're going to stay. So I have more or less the same setup with the item conduits in the back. So that is where they come up from the interactors downstairs. And they're all just being fed item conduits. And then here we have the two centrifuges for the soybeans and the tofu. And then the crafter for the cellular blocks, and that just goes into this barrel here. And all of them have void upgrades except the tofu and the cellular one. This little setup here I just got finished placing. Actually, I made another distillation tower, and this is the project we're going to be doing today. So the sludge that these interactors are using is actually very useful. So as we're getting more and more machines here, it's actually getting more difficult to power all of this. We're right on the edge, I would say, of like our power generation, so we have to do something about that. But before we can do that, there's a few different hoops we have to jump through, and this is one of them. So this sludge can be distilled into charcoal byproducts in a distillery. That's what this distillery here is for. And then the charcoal byproducts we're going to use in the distillation tower in front of us. That's going to give us tiny piles or small piles of charcoal dust, wood tar, wood vinegar, and wood gas. All three of these can be distilled even further to give us more fluids. So that is a lot of fluid handling. But we're just going to be doing wood vinegar for now. I think I might just void the rest, just so I don't have to deal with it at the moment, because, I mean, one, we don't have the power for it, and two, we don't really have the resources to build the machines to process it. So right now we're just going to be dealing with wood vinegar, which we're going to further distill in I think I'll just do the single distillery. We can get ethanol and methanol from this, but we're already making it another way, so yeah. Once we rebuild though, I'm going to reconsider all of this. But at the moment we're just going to do wood vinegar in a distillery to get acetone with circuit 4. Then the acetone we're going to put in a fluid heater, and we're going to get ethanol from that, which we're going to combine with nitric acid and then make our tetranitromethane, which we're going to combine with our biodiesel. We're already making this, and the diesel we're already making also. We're going to burn this one in our diesel generators. In fact, we could actually take it up to Infused Nitro-Diesel. We'll see how far we get. Let's just do this first, because there's quite a bit we have to do for this still. So I've hooked up all the inputs for this distillation tower, but we lack the energy for it. And so I was debating on what I should do here. This is a HV recipe, this distillation tower recipe that we're doing. So it has to be HV power. So we can either run it off MV, or I was thinking we pump some fuel of some sort up here and see about making these turbo diesel generators, which can generate HV power. Maybe I'll make 2 of them and then transform down to MV to power this distillery. So I think that's going to be the plan, but I'm not sure how many processor assemblies I have left. I'll have to double check. Else we're going to be making the nano processors, which we can now do since we have epoxy boards. And I'm going to make the barrel for seeds before I forget. So we're down to 12 processor assemblies left. I think this should be enough to get us the new power setup, since we're still going to be doing some machines at MV. And we do have, oh, there are only 20 of these. Maybe I'll make some more of these versions. And there's enough materials for 2 more stacks of integrated circuits. It turns out there was actually another 20 in this one, but I'm still going to make up these ones. So central processing units, fine red alloy wire, and the plastic boards, and the rest will go in here. So we have enough for the 2 turbo diesel generators, so we'll make 2 of those. I see you over there. One other thing I overlooked here was power transfer. So for HV, we ideally want some signalum cables, but we haven't actually made signalum yet. And signalum in this pack is, well, it's sterling silver, copper dust, and destabilized redstone. So it's actually not that bad. But I think for now, for this setup, we're just going to be doing the diesel generator straight onto the input hatch. And that way we can avoid power transport. Before we get the cetane, I'm just going to manually transfer some diesel over here for these generators. We're also going to want a high voltage transformer. So we're going to transform down from the generator here and just run some fluid conduit onto these. And we'll just set this to round robin. No explosions, which is good when you're dealing with transformers. And as you can see, this guy's running, making the charcoal byproducts, which means the distillation tower should have run. It is awesome. And we're getting out our charcoal dust, wood tar, wood vinegar, wood gas. Nice. So we're going to do fluid trash cans on the tar and the gas for now. So as I mentioned, the other step for tetranitromethane is nitric acid, and that is what I have just set up here. So we have another gassy chicken making our nitrogen, combining that with oxygen, which we're getting from this one over here. This was already here. I'm just taking it from the one we're already producing here since it is quite fast. So this is combining our oxygen and nitrogen to give us the nitrogen dioxide, and then I have an aqueous accumulator under here to supply water, and then I'm giving it more oxygen, and that's giving us nitric acid. And now there's only two more steps, which is to distill the wood vinegar and then heat that in a fluid heater, and then combine the ethanol and nitric acid. So I'm going to set that up probably here. Alright, so I decided to build the ethanol setup next to our distillation tower. So we just have the output on the middle slot here, connected to the steel drum, being pulled in by an LV pump, and that is on config 4 for wood vinegar, and that gives us acetone. Then we heat it for ethanol, and we just have to get this down there somehow. So I think I'll make another fluid transfer node. I think I'll have to make some more shifting stars though. Actually no, we get one from the quest reward for charcoal byproducts, so let's pick that up. And I'm realising that this is also kind of slow to get sludge, so we're going to have to speed that up somehow. I know there is speed upgrades for these, but I don't know if that produces more sludge directly. And if that isn't fast enough, we are going to have to do the pyrolyze oven. This is another multi-block which we can burn wood for, or logs I mean, and get charcoal byproducts this way. So this may be something we have to set up to supplement the sludge production from this. Right, so there's the bucket of charcoal byproducts. That should have completed the quest. Oh, it was just a checkmark quest. Oops. Okay, well that gives us the shifting star, and I'll make the fluid transposer. I keep calling it a transposer, it's not a transposer. Okay, I made the fluid transporter and hooked it directly up to this chemical reactor next to the nitric acid. Plug it in, and this should make us our tetranitromethane. This also gives us a water byproduct though. So we'll have to filter that out. That's easy enough though with a trash can, and we'll filter that for water. And yeah, we're now getting tetranitromethane. So there's only one more step to get in our cetane, and that is to mix it with our biodiesel and regular diesel. So this is kind of tricky the way that I have this set up. There's not really an easy way to get the biodiesel or the diesel over here. Basically the diesel comes from this distillation tower here. It's this tank right here. And our biodiesel is sitting right here. And somehow we have to mix both of those with this. Let me figure that out really quick. Alright, so yeah, another death to add to the list. So that happened because I was hooking up this chemical reactor and accidentally mixed the LV and MV lines over here. And we had a bit of a whoops, but I was hooking that up to make nitrogen in order to make signalum. So I made a big batch of this, and a lot of it is already turned into cable. But this is for the HV power transfer that I mentioned earlier on. It's for these lossless HV cables. I did also manage to hook up our tetranitromethane here. So the tetranitromethane is made in this chemical reactor here, the MV one. And then we just have a fluid conduit going underneath into these two HV mixers. And this one has biodiesel, this one has regular diesel. The tetranitromethane is round robin between both of them. And this gives us our cetane boosted, which is output to this drum right here. And the way, by the way, I'm getting the biodiesel and diesel in here is I have made 2 more of these fluid transporters. I'll never get that name right. Fluid transfer nodes. 2 more of these fluid transfer nodes and put them on the diesel and the biodiesel right here. And they're just directly hooked up to the machines. I also went and crafted these turbo diesel generators. I haven't quite hooked these up yet, I just manually filled it just to get the mixers going for the first time. But those are connected via signalum cable into a high voltage battery buffer. And I have some HV batteries using the lithium that we are now making in here. And this is going to be our HV line across this way. And I ended up staying on for a couple of hours actually, doing just some resource gathering and crafting and whatnot. I went and gathered some silver for the signalum. I also got some copper and lead for the batteries. I think our circuits should be done as well. Yeah, we have 2 stacks of circuits. And I was thinking what we should do with this cetane. And I think we might as well actually just infuse it into infused nitro-diesel. Because we already have the starlight. We might have to expand that out a little bit more. But we are producing starlight already. And as for the lithium, we are making lithium over here. This centrifuge I just made. I just placed this centrifuge. But we're getting liquid lithium from brine. And this was just being put in this bronze drum and backing up. I wasn't doing anything with it. So I added this advanced centrifuge and pulled it in with a pump. And this is turning liquid lithium into tiny piles of lithium dust, which is what we need for our infused nitro-diesel. So all this is going to take is a chemical reactor at MV. But I've made an HV one. And we're just going to put this, I think, here. And then we can just fluid conduit the cetane boosted in here. We will have to get the lithium in here also. But for now, I think I'll just do it manually. And then, obviously, once we have applied energistics, it'll be easy to add item interfaces instead of this barrel here. So I'll just add it in manually here and lock it. And all that's missing is the starlight. So we just need another GPS marker on this machine. And then put it on the fluid transfer node up there. Oh wow, that was very quick. So we hooked up the starlight and we're already full on nitro-diesel. I'm just going to buffer this in another steel drum. And then we just have to get this into our diesel generators. Alright, so what I decided to do was hook up a fluid conduit from the steel drum with the infused nitro into this pourable tank here. And then we are going to round robin between all of our generators here. So the HV and the MV ones. And these still have a little bit of diesel in them. Some of them do. So that'll obviously have to burn out first. I don't really want to break that and waste it. So all we have to do now is set round robin and extract. And these are going to start filling up, producing our power. Should charge all the batteries eventually. So yeah, that's the fuel taken care of. We will have to expand the generators out. And this, I think, will only even last 1 more tier. And once we get to Ivy, we'll have to do this multi-block stuff. But let's pick up some of the quests actually for this power generation tab. So we need the cetane diesel cell and the infused nitro-diesel. That's those 2 quests done. Oh, matter booster. And a quantum tank. That's quite cool. Some nightmare eggs. Anyways, the second to last quest here is to get 2 energy input hatches to upgrade our blast furnaces. And since we have more power now, we might actually do that. Before we do that though, there is one thing that I've been putting off way too long, and that is this mess right here. So I'm almost a little embarrassed every time I open these chests because there's just stuff everywhere and it's impossible to find anything. So until we get applied energistics, we're going to be using modular storage. And I know I said we won't be using logistics pipes, and I think it is a little late in the game to set that up now. We're kind of committed to not setting up logistics pipes. Nothing's really set up in a way to allow for it. I do want to set up some unified storage, so I want to make some modular storages and connect them all with logistics pipes, just in this one room here. And in fact, I was thinking about this a little bit more, and maybe we want to build this storage room somewhere else For example, I was thinking about maybe putting the storage room right around here and make this the center of the base, and then we can have the blood magic entrance on this side rather than the other side. Since this machine room here is pretty much just going to be expanded this way, and then we're going to rebuild everything that's here over here, which means a lot of the base will be on this side rather than over there. And I want to have the storage room a central area, so that might be something for the future. But for now, let's work on this storage solution. So the recipe for these modular storages isn't actually that bad at this point. It's just some LV machine casings. We should have done this ages ago, to be honest. Some red alloy, nether quartz plates, and oh, this is even tier 1 circuits. But let's finally clean up this mess. Alright, so we're going to go with 10 modular storages. I don't know if this is going to be too many or not, or too little. Unfortunately, these things don't stack. Yeah, the quest here says that we can get 100 stacks of items on a chip. I don't know if that's for the tier 1. Yeah, it must be for the tier 1. 100 stacks. And we can make up to tier 3s. So the way these modular storages work is we place them down, and similar to AE, we need a drive inside to store the items. And I believe there's only 3 tiers. We have to make the previous tier, or the next tier from the previous tier. So the tier 1 is a circuit and iron to gold chest upgrades. The tier 2 is an enriched alloy, and the tier 3 is reinforced alloy. And we can do all of this, no problem now. It's going to take quite a lot of crafting, since it is all manual still. But we should be able to get 10 of these modular storages. So there's the iron to chest gold upgrades, and a quest apparently. And then we can assemble all these. And while we wait for this assembler to make our enriched alloy, let's do some more crafting. So after saying we're not doing logistics pipes, here we are doing logistics pipes. So the first step in logistics pipes is to get the power junction. And this is what? Redstone coil, a circuit, and a machine casing. Alright, not too bad. And there's the power junction. This is going to give us a bunch of quest rewards, which are really useful. Pipe manager, pipe controller, some transport pipes, some basic pipes, and a CEU. So I'm not super familiar with this mod. I've only seen other people use this, and used it very briefly myself, so I don't know exactly what I'm doing here, but I'm going to just follow the quests. So the next step is to make some of these modules, which can be chiseled into the other different versions. So to make these modules, we need some advanced chips, fine electrum wire, blank modules, and graphite plates. I may actually be out of graphite, to be honest. But this is just some plastic and red alloy, electrum, and this is what? Diamonds, vacuum tubes, and fine red alloy. Okay, I've got a lot of microcrafting to do. But I'm going to make maybe a stack or 2 of these. I had some people asking me why I cut out so much of the crafting steps, and for things like this, you know, like making red alloy wire, throwing some things in the assembler, we've seen all this stuff before, so I feel like it's not really too interesting to see this type of micro crafting. But for the big crafts, I'll definitely show everything. It's just about trying to find a balance, to be honest. Okay, so we are almost there. I'm just making up the last of the advanced chips. And there is our item sync modules. I have no idea how many of these we actually need, but I have enough for a couple of stacks at least. I don't think we'll need that many, to be honest. So next up, we're going to want a program compiler and a programmer. So there's the compiler. Oh, and we get a book. Oh, so the programmer is going to take one of these FPGAs. And this is gold wire and a circuit. Oh, but we get 8 at a time. Okay, this isn't bad. Okay, I made all the pieces we need to move on, and to get started in logistics pipes, we have to flash the logistics programmer with the recipe that we want. Oh man, my inventory. What a mess. Okay, so, for example, if I show you the recipe for the logistics chassis Mark 1, this takes the logistics programmer. But then if we look at the Mark 2, for example, actually that is a bad example, but some of these pipes use the same recipe. The only difference is the NBT data on this logistics programmer. So to fix that, we have to put down the program compiler and then flash it onto the disk. We put in our disk, and then we want, like, say, basic pipes. We have to just hit this button and it's going to process. There's really not much to this, you just have to wait on it. But as you can see, we also need power, so that's where the power junction comes in. And we're going to use spectre coils for this, so Alright, this is getting power. Maybe it just needs the cable to power it. That's probably why it gives us these to begin with. Yeah, there we go. So this will transfer power between it. I don't know what that visual bug is. Very strange. And yeah, this takes forever, so we're going to time and bottle this. So that unlocked all of tier 1, and then we have to put in our logistics programmer. And if we want the crafting logistics pipe, for example, we hit compile, and that flashes it to this. And then on the crafting logistics pipe recipe, as you can see, it shares with the satellite one. The only difference is this programmer NBT, like I mentioned. So now that we have that on the NBT on the programmer, we can craft that pipe. So I'm going to unlock all of the ones that we actually need for this, and then we'll start unifying all this storage into these modular storages. Okay, so I got a handful of everything that we're going to need, and in that time we also got our tier 3 storage modules done. These actually take quite a while in the assembler here. I'm going to grab a few of them, and I'll show you what all of this does. So when we put this in the modular storage, in this slot here, this allows for 300 stacks of items per block. So now we can use these as their own inventories, but we want to link them all to one. And to link them all, we're going to want a logistics request table. So there is our request table, and with this we can, this is effectively like an AE terminal. We can search items and request items and craft items in this table here. So this is what we're going to want in the center. I think I've decided I will just set up this logistics system in this same room, but until we move all these chests, I'm just going to set it up in the middle here. So what we'll do is put this down, and then we'll move our power junction over there. We can put it here for now, it's all going to get moved. And then we'll use the basic pipes on here, and then the logistics pipes everywhere else that connects to one of these blocks. Alright, so that's now all connected. But as you can see, we still can't see any of the items, and that's because we don't have any modules in these. So to add the modules, you have to right click with the wrench, and this gives you 2 slots for the Mark 1, which is all we need, to be honest. And then we're going to want item sync modules and also provider modules, I believe. So 1 item sync and 1 provider. So the provider module basically allows this request table to pull items out of the inventory, and the item sync handles the import into the inventory. So for our case, we just want everything to be visible to this table, and we basically are not worried about sorting or anything like that. It's all going to go into AE2 eventually. I just basically want everything in one inventory. So to do that, we need to do default route yes on all of them. So I'll put the modules in each one. There, so now when we open this, we should see our items in here. Of course, we don't have anything in there yet, so let's put a couple of items in just to test it out. And yeah, they now show up, and we can also request these items. If I remember how to do this, let's say we want 12 of the iron ingots, we can ask for 12 here, hit request, and it's going to pop them into this inventory here. So when we want to put items away, since we have default route on, it's just going to pick any inventory, I believe. So to put items away, we just put it in the sort, and then it's going to put them into one of the inventories anyway. Actually, where did that go? Oh, it was just slow. It did end up in one of those. Yeah, it's in this bottom one here. So the next thing I want to do, as the quest recommends, is set up an import so that when I have an inventory full of items, I can just come to, like, let's say a chest, empty all of the items in there, and it's just going to dump it into the correct spot. So to do that, we're going to connect another chassis Mark 1 with the chest on it. And for these modules, we need a, what was it? Extractor module. Yeah, just the extractor module. Extractor in here. In fact, we can put more than one, can't we? I think for speed. Oh wait, hold on, we're using the wrong pipe here. We want to be using the logistics pipe. Yeah, and then we want the extractor module in there. And now anything we put in here, red alloy foil, eventually it'll find its way into one of these. Yep, it went into the bottom one again. And there are ways to speed this up as well. I don't remember where I saw that. Aha, here we go. So we have item speed upgrades and action speed upgrades. So to apply the upgrades, we need to use our pipe controller, and then go into the upgrades tab and put in a action speed I think we want on here. Oh no, apparently it doesn't let us. I guess it's the item speed one. and that will speed it up a little bit. I would like to the action speed, but maybe we need the logistics chassis Mark IIs in there. Let me try that, I'm not sure. Okay, I figured it out. I made the logistics chassis Mark II, but you can do it with the Mark I. The thing we were missing was the module upgrade. So when we apply this and open up the GUI again, we can see there's some new slots for some upgrade slots here. And this is where the action speeds can go in. So I believe item speed is the transfer rate between the pipes, and action speed is how often it pulls from the chest. So now if we put more than... Oh yeah, this is much faster. That is I would say an acceptable rate of item export. Yeah, it does look really good, really cool. So yeah, now we have to transport all of these items into these boxes. So I think to do that, rather than picking up every single item one by one, we're going to make logistics pipes work for us. So I've got this dolly here that I got from a quest reward, and we can just pick up chests, slot it right here, and it's going to start extracting every single item. Oh, interesting, it goes one by one. I bet there's a module to fix that, but I'm okay. This is an acceptable rate for me, I would say. And then when we open our request table, we can see all the items popping in here. Nice. I did also put in all the discs in these other storages, so I'm going to transfer all the items, and then we're going to move this request table and these to the center of the room here. And these I think you can pick up without like destroying any items in it, since all the items are saved on the disk, and this is just NBT data. So once all the items are in this system, we can just mine these blocks and put them where we want them. So I am helping it along a little bit here, just putting some of the items away, and there's something very satisfying about this. I got all of the chests emptied up to, I think, this one. So we have 2.5 left. So yeah, we have 7 empty modular storages. So we are good for storage. Okay, got the last chest emptied, and now we can do something I've wanted to do for a long time. Oh, there was still some stuff in that. I guess I missed that chest there. Now that it's been through most of the items, there's only half a chest full left to go. So it's very interesting to see how many items we actually have. I have this sorted on count. The most items we have is netherrack at 1000. Same with stone. I didn't actually realise I had that much stone. 200 circuits though, apparently. But actually, I'm a little bit more poor than I thought. I thought I had a lot more resources than this. We're going to have to do something about that soon. I think we're going to be setting up ore processing in the near future. I don't know if it's worth waiting till IV for that. Maybe we'll do it at HV and then just upgrade it later. I haven't decided on that yet. Aha, I got everything moved over. Everything is now being cleaned up, and our new setup is up and running. This is probably long overdue and a bit late, as well as we're kinda close to applied energistics. I think that's something we're going to be aiming for pretty soon here in the next few episodes. Although for applied energistics, I believe you have to go to space. But after I was having a look at these quest tabs here, for the space tab, there's actually not that much we haven't done yet. Like silicon production, we have that. MV assembler, aluminium, polyvinyl chloride, we have this. There is a few other steps like rocket fuel, we haven't done this yet. But I would say we're actually not that far away from this. So it might take me a while to get used to this new system. Yeah, it's so nice being able to just search up all of the wire that we have in here, and it to show up our circuit or anything. It's amazing. And we can request as many as we have, and they'll show up almost instantly. Oh, this is going to be so good. It's going to make it so easy to progress now. We still have manual crafting, of course, but that should be fixed soon. Anyways, I think this is a good point to wrap up this episode. Next time, I think we'll be doing a little bit of building, actually. I would like to flesh out this area a bit more. And I think we'll do also some magic progression, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for some more FTB interactions.